All right, hello everybody. It's the Wrestling with the Wellies podcast. We're talking about SummerSlam 2022, where it's me and Jeremy again. This was actually probably the best WWE pay per view of the year, and mind you, this is like weeks before. I think they announced it during the same week or the week before that Vince McMahon was stepping down and retiring, and that Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan are taking over the CEO duties, and then Triple H is doing both talent relations and creative. Which, thank God for that shit. Because, I mean, if they end up doing what they're doing in this pay per view, the pay per views are probably going to be a lot better now. Mostly because it started off with Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, and I figured that Bianca was going to win anyway because I think they're trying to give her a long reign right now. Before, like, I don't know who's going to beat her for it. Probably it might be Bayley, the way that they're pushing Bayley now.
Yeah, I
Because
don't know if anything changed because of the fact that Becky got hurt, but I don't think that she was going to be winning in Nashville anyway, since Bianca's from there.
yeah, I don't think so either. Mostly because like she won it at WrestleMania, and I don't think they were gonna give her like 6 months, and especially the way that they've been building Bianca too. But I mean, I think this was a better the better match out of so far the matches that they've done. Mostly because they did a lot of different moves, and I didn't see that they did before, like in this match. Like, I'm trying to remember the one that I was just like, whoa, I'm surprised that they did that in the match. I think it was something in the corner or something like that. I was just like surprised when I actually saw it. Mostly because I think it was the first time I saw her do it. But I mean,
You're talking about Bianca Belair or Becky?
I think it was Becky. I thought Becky did like a certain move. I just can't remember what move it was.
Yeah, I can't either.
It's funny how I call it out, but then I was like trying to remember it before we started and recording, and then I was like, God, I can't even remember what move it was.
Actually, I put it on the website, I think, actually. So hold on a second. I can actually probably look it up.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember if it was on the last podcast or not, where we mentioned that we revamped how the website is, so everything looks a lot better now, and we're starting to do like movie reviews and music reviews and stuff like that we can't make videos for. We're putting up on the website, so that's one thing. While he looks everything up.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I did that as we were watching it. So,
Yeah.
let's see. She did a leg drop, I know.
Yeah, well,
while
I've seen her Becky Lynch do the leg drop like so many different times, but it was just a move that I've seen from a bunch of other people. But then I was just surprised that she did it too. Like, it was just because most of the time, especially in WWE, you don't see them branching out and doing a bunch of different moves. Like, most of the time, especially when it comes to Happy Corbin and stuff, usually he'll do like rest hold after rest hold, then do deep six, then do his little under the ring clothesline move. And then he'll do his end of days. Lately, I haven't even seen him really use it. Like but I mean, I don't think I've seen Happy Corbin win much.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's been jobbing a lot lately.
Yeah.
It seems like he hasn't won a lot. It's kind of like Dolph Ziggler for the last 20 years.
I think they know that he's like a safe worker to build up talent now, like he was doing it with Madcap Moss, and then so like,
but yeah, we've mentioned that before. Was that WWE, their wrestlers tend to do the same things in each of their matches. It's almost like they're scripted even to that level, to the point. Like, I remember when Dean Ambrose, we talk about it a lot, when he was in there, you knew when he was in a match that he would do that when he bounced up against the rope
move
and did the clothesline. Yeah, it was so And so it seems like, and John Cena was known for his 5 moves of doom.
Yeah, and then
And
he was like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna add like a dragon punch thing, and then it's the 6 moves of doom." Like, good God, way to like make it worse for people to really be like, "Fuck me, man!" Like, make it like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna knock somebody out with a fucking dragon punch." Or like whatever punch that he would do, where it was like a side punch. I forgot what he actually named the move, but it was just a goofy move. Like at least with Chris Jericho doing the Judas effect, seems like a wicked elbow. Like especially because like if he does it super quick, you don't even see it coming really. Especially the way that Chris Jericho does some of his matches, you don't see him fucking get it right when he does. And I think that's mostly why the move works for him, but it didn't work for John Cena. But anyway, back to the Bianca match. I really liked the match. I
it
think
was a
it was
great
their
opener, to be
best.
honest with you.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
a great opener, and it was the best match that they've done so far together. But I don't know if it's because of who built the match or if they just went out there and decided to do a bunch of stuff. Like,
I I think that's part of it. I think that, well, let's put it this way: if it wasn't, it's morale that's caused them to work differently. Let's put it
yeah,
that way,
yeah.
because it was even talked about during Raw. Since we're doing this late, that the morale is way up since Triple H took over.
Oh yeah, that's what I kind of
And
heard too, and especially there was in talks. Well, okay, so might as well mostly because this was the holy shit moment for me for the whole pay per view was mostly because I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago that Dakota Kai got released. So what happened was Bianca went over, which everybody could figure that. But then I didn't expect that they were pretty much doing a face turn for Becky, and then Bailey comes out, which I knew that she was going to eventually come out. I just didn't know when they were going to have her return because, like, her injury and stuff like that, I didn't know when they were going to prep her to come back. But uh, then Dakota Kai shows up, and then from what I heard was that she wasn't signed at the moment.
yeah,
So like,
it was a
so
last
I
minute
was
thing.
yeah, I was just sitting there. I was like, holy shit! Like I didn't, and like I was like, okay, yeah, Triple H is definitely in control, like of creative and talent
Yeah, because
relations. If he instantly hired Dakota Kai back.
well, because a friend of mine was talking about, and you remember I sent that thing about what CM Punk said about Vince, even though he's retired, is going to have say. And to me, SummerSlam showed that he's not involved.
Oh yeah,
Not at this point,
that's
at least.
especially and
Because,
I don't think that they're going to have him like head of creative for the whole time. You never really know though. Like I definitely think that he should be head of talent relations because the picks for the wrestlers that he picks is good ideas. Like he had Aleister Black and Dakota Kai and all these other guys like Ricochet and stuff
well,
like that.
yeah, head of talent relations should always be a wrestler or a former one,
Yeah.
because they know what they're doing. And you have to have a smart one, and that's another conversation that I've had is with others, is that Triple H has always been the one that it'd almost be like if the Undertaker decided to do backstage stuff, that he would make
Oh
the
yeah.
right decisions, I think, in terms of talent. But then you've got
Yeah.
others that even though they were wrestlers, I don't know if I would. Hulk Hogan's probably a good example that I probably wouldn't pick for him to pick talent.
Hell no, because he always, to me, about Hulk Hogan was he was always put himself number one
Yeah, and I
rather
think
than the business. I think
yeah,
that's
and I think Ric Flair would have done the same thing. So,
well. I mean, we
um,
talk like I think Mick Foley talked about that in books and stuff, like how he had disagreements with Ric Flair on how his booking was. Especially, I think his first book, he talks about like how he got into arguments when he was with him in WCW and stuff when he was head booker or something. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure when I read his book, he was talking about him having problems with Ric Flair. But I mean, a lot
mhm.
of people ended up having problems with Ric Flair when he was a booker. Same with Kevin Sullivan. There was another thing with him too. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. And then on top of that, and they were also alluding to Io Shirai going to wanting to get out of her contract, kind of like Kyrie Sane and a bunch of others. But then she shows up, even though that they changed her name to Io Sky,
Yeah,
which I
which I
mean,
don't. It'd be
I don't.
nice for them to like explain some of these reasonings.
Oh,
Like,
like if they changed their name or something.
yeah, why? It's
Yeah,
like
like
just
if you,
because they went to the
yeah.
main roster. I mean, it doesn't make sense because they kind of did the same thing with.
Well, they
Well,
did
they've
that with
done.
Pete Dunne, and then they did it with. I'm just thinking the most recent ones. It was like
Well,
with Pete
Walter
Dunne. He was
or
oh yeah,
Gunther.
Walter too. And then there's also rumors that they're saying that they're going to switch Walter back from Gunther to Walter, which I think that would be too confusing for people. So even though that I think that Walter is what I'm going to call him, like I'm going to try to call him always Walter.
I don't know. It's just proof. This
Well,
just goes back to proof that Triple H is taking over
yeah.
because I
Uh,
think a lot of these decisions were made when he kind of was out due to his heart
oh
stuff.
yeah, like the releases for some of the talent and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
I
and
could
the
totally
name
see that.
changes and stuff. It's like
Oh yeah,
I think you could tell he had more power than people
yeah.
think he had even when he was there because stuff wasn't happening that happened right after he left.
That was happening consistently after he was out with his heart surgery or his heart stuff, like whatever was going on with his heart and all that. But like, hopefully everything goes better for him anyway. So the like, it was definitely a banger match for this one, and might be like for Bianca and Becky, definitely like high up there on my favorite WWE matches so far, at least.
Oh yeah, like I said, this was easily, and we'll continue to talk about it. But this is the best pay per view of the year
Yeah, I definitely
so
agree,
far.
and it's mostly because the
And I mean for WWE. I'm not going to say best
yeah,
pay per view period,
because
but
I mean most of the better pay per views are all the AEW pay per views. But I mean, also at the same time, like it's mostly because they ended up having celebrities on this thing, and we've talked about celebrities in wrestling and stuff like that, and I think it's a detriment as much as it is helping the business, really. But also at the same time, one of the main things that I was surprised about in this match, even though that I don't like him as a person, was this match. He couldn't have had a better person to wrestle against was the Miz. And that's mostly because like Logan Paul, he made Logan Paul look great in this match.
oh yeah, we've talked about it when we were watching it. It's like, and I talked to a friend of mine about this. Was that Logan Paul? He's a great athlete because I mean, obviously he faced Floyd Mayweather in the boxing ring, right? And I
Yeah.
think he wrestled as a high schooler. I think he was a high school wrestler or something like that. So he's obviously got athletic skills, but he's and so in terms of wrestling, as long as you practice that stuff, I mean, me and you could do it if we
Oh
had
yeah,
the
I'm
time to
sure. I
actually
mean,
practice. And
doesn't mean that we might not be talented at it, but I'm sure that we could do something with it and just be like, oh, well, we're kind of trash or whatever. As long as we ended up having enough time at it, I'm sure that we could probably do all right. Like,
well, no, that's my point. I mean, Logan Paul's not doing anything but training for this, and he probably trained with the Miz or AJ Styles, is what I actually heard. Is that AJ Styles was training him, and that's why
well,
he did
also at
the.
the same time, they did it in the match too, where AJ came out and beat up Champa. And then
Yeah,
he even did his phenomenal forearm in the match too. I mean, looking a bit weak compared to the AJ's, but I mean, come on, man, that's
well,
like
and
grasping at
that's what
straws.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying was that if you're shown that stuff and how to do it, as long as you can pick it up, and he's young too, so it's like if you're athletic and you can understand what you're doing, it doesn't take that much. I wouldn't say. It's still difficult. I mean, you're still
Oh
doing stuff
yeah, it's
that
like a bunch of
you know.
repetition, and they say like muscle memory and stuff like that. So, like that's why I was saying. Like I was just very surprised with this one. It kind of reminds me of Bad Bunny, but actually he did a lot more moves than Bad Bunny did. I mean, granted, Bad Bunny did like Canadian Destroyer and a bunch of other stuff, but he was
Well, I
like
feel
Logan Paul was a for real like high flyer in this match, which I was surprised, especially the fucking frog splash onto the announce table. I was like, very nice. He does a
yeah,
really
where
good
he
frog splash.
and where he bounced off the table. Yeah,
Oh yeah, had to talk about how he bonked off of it because, of course, I had to mention it, especially when we were watching it. I was like, oh, I love how he lands on him and then bonks him like right up off the table. Oh shit!
but
But
of
like,
course it ended with him doing his own move
oh
on
yeah,
him. So
I thought it was funny how he ripped off the Miz's move for the finish. I was like, okay, that makes sense. That way, at least it could effectively, if they wanted to, effectively kill the feud between them both.
I just hope he doesn't get pushed. Like,
Oh yeah, like if they end up having them come in for some like only big four pay-per-views like Survivor Series or some shit, it would be
or
nice
not
if he
even
would be
that.
wrestling
Just if
more
he
often.
all of a sudden is getting a title shot because of just who he is.
Yeah, and well, I mean, Triple H was talking about that he had no idea who Logan Paul was before. Like, I think he said Sami Zayn told him who he was and all that stuff, which doesn't surprise me because I think Sami Zayn was the person that brought him in. I think essentially because they kind of worked that like where he was with Sami Zayn. Like what was it at last year's WrestleMania? He came out with Sami Zayn to who did he face? Was it Kevin Owens? I think it might have been Kevin Owens because like he came out and he stunned both of them. He stunned Sami Zayn and he stunned Logan Paul, and then everybody cheered for him. But I mean, still, I mean, and that's what I was saying. This was a lot better match than I expected. And then even the third match was which was very short, which I think essentially should have been the first match that they did was where they like had Theory beat him up a lot. Was like Lashley destroyed pretty much Theory
Yeah,
in
and the end was
4 minutes
awesome when
or
he
5 minutes.
when he pressed him and then put him in the pressed him from a I think he jumped from the rope
And
and
then
he
he
pressed
caught
him.
him, yeah, and then
He
he put him
caught
in the
him and
hurt lock.
pressed him and then put him in the hurt lock. It was an awesome move. And I don't know if anybody else could have pulled it off.
Oh yeah, because like Lashley is so damn strong. You could tell. You could
Well,
definitely tell. I know that Theory
take that
isn't
back.
the
One
smallest
person,
guy, but
yeah, one person could have pulled it off, but
oh,
he's no
you're
longer
thinking
in
like Braun
WWE.
Strowman.
Yeah, Braun could have easily done it.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
hopefully everything with Braun. I mean, maybe like Triple H will like re-sign him. There's even rumors that Bray Wyatt might get re-signed too.
You know, this is what I was saying. What would be incredible if they pulled this off? The way they've started Edge is that Edge and Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman all in the same group.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
would
that
be
would be fun.
incredible, and yeah, and it would be in that same manner. It would be the new Brood,
Yeah,
but
essentially, yeah.
he would be the leader of it instead of Gangrel being the leader this time.
Yeah, and then like like the only thing is if they, I wonder if they're gonna still have them feud with Judgment Day, which I don't think that they really should because if anything, it kind of like ended Judgment Day before they really made it anywhere. Which I might as
No,
well talk about
well,
that anyway.
yeah,
It's kind of leading into it.
unfortunately, the Judgment Day. I hope they don't end it because I honestly think it's perfect for Priest and Ripley. I
Yeah.
don't know
I
about
mean,
Finn
like, even
Balor
if it's
as much.
Finn Balor, if they do, like, kind of like a version of his Demon Balor shit, it would work. Like if he comes
Well,
out where it's kind of similar, but it's not the demon, and he just comes out with purple and black paint
yeah,
instead
that's
of
the only
anything.
way it would work, though. I mean,
Yeah,
him as
yeah,
just Finn Balor, it just doesn't seem right to me. It's
yeah,
not working on that level to me.
yeah. And really, honestly, right now, like heel Balor to me is just like heel and Prince Devitt that was in Bullet Club and New Japan. It's essentially doing the same thing, like the finger pistols and all that shit. He pretty much does the same thing, but they haven't really given him much to work with. So hopefully they don't end this group before it is too late or too soon or whatever. And because okay, so it was the Mysterios versus Judgment Day, and essentially, pretty much, I like how Rhea Ripley is kind of like beating up men here, especially Dominic.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, I feel that this role is perfect for her in this
Yeah,
group. It's
yeah,
like this whole group is meant for her. And the same thing with Damian Priest. I think just the way it's going about it, and it would have worked brilliantly with Edge, I think.
yeah.
But Finn Balor just throws me off. But they wanted to go. It sounded like they wanted to go some supernatural path, and that's why Edge was taken out because he didn't want to go down that realm.
Well, that's
But
mainly why I think that they should have, if they would have done stuff with Balor, at least make it like a. They don't have to do Demon Finn. They could just do like a version like Judgment Day Finn, where it's like something different. That way, it melds with the group right.
well, if they're going to go the supernatural route, though, then they
Yeah.
need to do it. I
Well,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's like
if they
that's
got
pretty much.
if they got rid of Edge because of that, then they should be doing that, and they're not doing that right now. They're just another group
Yeah,
that's beaten. That's
especially with the end of this, like I liked how at the end of the match, because I mean the match was just okay at best. I mean, like it wasn't like anything too standout for me. Like there wasn't a whole lot of moments where I was like, "Ooh," it was just it seems like a Raw match
no, and it
mainly.
was funny because it was a no disqualification match,
Oh
but I
yeah,
don't
and they
remember them
only
doing anything.
yeah, like they only did like some chair shots and shit near the end, and then it was kind of like they did
And we
no
talk,
disqualification just to like introduce Edge. Essentially,
yeah,
that's what it seemed
and,
like.
yeah, and the funny thing was we talked about it during the match was that despite the match having no rules, they still were tagging in and out, and I was like, why aren't they just fighting all together?
Yeah,
Because there's nothing stopping them from doing that. And but yet they did it. And I mentioned that when I did the write up and on it, and then I guess there was a Super Rana and a baseball slide with a steel chair that Rey Mysterio did.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I've been seeing like stuff where people are getting tired of like Dominic stuff, right? Like
Well,
his wrestling and stuff.
yeah,
But
he's
like
not that great, but I mean, at
I
the
mean,
same time,
also
it's
at the
like,
same time, he's still fucking learning, man.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I was talking about like how long he's been wrestling in WWE since he's been on television. I was saying like it's only been like a year and a half. Somebody was like, "Oh well, he's been wrestling for 5 years." I'm like, "Yeah, but 5 years is not a lot of time." You know, most of the people that do great matches, how long they've been wrestling for. Like that's why I get surprised when I see people like Anna Jay and uh who else like Jerry and Jade Cargill is still green anyway. She does good stuff in matches. Same with Logan Paul. I mean, like where they do decent and they do pretty decent matches a lot of the time. I mean,
and
granted, they're missing
and
shit though. Like
yeah,
that's
and
the only
speaking,
thing that I could see about is like Dominic's missing something in his it's not so much his wrestling, but his execution is lacking, I think. Like either in his promo skills or in his facial features or like when he was doing matches, like being super shocked and stuff like that. He's missing something. I just can't place what he's missing.
yeah,
Oh,
unfortunately, I think with promo skills, that's the hardest part to get down. I
oh
would
yeah.
think. I think the wrestling part is the easier part. It's the talking part that's always
Well,
the hardest for everybody, and that's why you
well,
see either the best wrestlers have the best promos.
yeah. Well, did
And
you
I've
see
talked about
like
it before.
did you see the? I saw a clip from like Logan Paul talking to Triple H on his podcast, and he was talking about, and he was like, "Dude, you could have great wrestlers all day, but then if you don't know how to cut a decent promo or tell a good story in the ring, nobody's gonna care." I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, it really shows because I mean, like some of these matches, especially this one, wasn't like anything too crazy. And I thought that at one point they were going to do something with Edge because they were kind of doing those promos where it was showing like Orton and all this stuff, like when he was walking by. So everybody was thinking that the creepy vignettes that were going on was Edge coming back, which they didn't really pay off. So I'm wondering if it's somebody else that it has to be somebody else that they're introducing.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're
it
doing though.
honestly seems weird because the vignettes were odd. I mean, I was saying it was Edge the whole time, but really, you do that to to bring him back on SummerSlam that way?
Well, that's why I
Seems
thought it
kind
was
of.
kind of weird that they did that stuff. They didn't do like a video package that was similar to like him showing up. It was just like a regular thing, which mind you, the cool entrance was actually pretty dope. And I think he ended up having different music instead of the Metalingus one playing. I don't know what he
Well,
had
yeah, it
playing.
wasn't Metalingus. It was like the Brood music combined with something else. But
Yeah,
he did have Metalingus on Raw, though.
yeah, that's what I noticed that he came back with that. But like his t-shirt that he came out, which I'm wondering if that's supposed to be merch or something because it looked like it was an Edge t-shirt. But then the entrance video where it was kind of like getting out of hell type of thing and all the stuff that was in there, like the whole entrance was pretty dope like for him coming out. And then of course it was like a reason for them to cuss the match to him. And that's mostly why I say that like the match was just to serve the purpose of Edge coming back. And that's the only thing that I didn't like about the match that threw me out. And like that's what I'm saying. These two matches are like the main ones that I didn't really care about. Like it was this one and then Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. I like Pat McAfee, but also at the same time, I am so tired of fucking Happy Corbin's bullshit. I'm
Well,
so
yeah,
tired of seeing him
we talked
wrestle on
about
pay per
that.
views. I would much rather see Ricochet or Ali or AJ Styles or literally like any other person wrestle on the card instead of Happy Corbin. And it's mostly because it's like kind of like he's got X Pac heat, kind of, especially with me. It's not like it's just like go away, like get off my TV screen. I don't care to see your matches. It's mostly because it's boring matches. Like it's the same type of shit over and over again. Just insert guy here, and
Hmm.
that's the main
I would agree.
difference. It's like Pat McAfee. I like Pat McAfee, and I loved it. I thought it was funny how he was saying bum ass Corbin, and he got the people singing bum ass Corbin before he came out. I thought that was funny. But, like, other than that, it's like, okay, this was just a reason for Pat McAfee to have a match at SummerSlam. And I think he's good at, decent at wrestling, but I don't know if, like, if he would be in a match where let's say if he was wrestling against Logan Paul, if it would be a good match, you know? Like he's in with safe workers that will for get you through a match, right? It's kind of like the Miz. They will get you through a good match, sometimes even great if they know what they're doing. It's like same with Dolph Ziggler, where they will get you to sell for you to make you better look better than you are
Yeah,
essentially.
I'm sorry. I don't get the big thing over Pat McAfee. I haven't since he was in NXT. I
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like
I
it
think he
was
should
cool
remain.
with him and Adam Cole, but
I get him to an extent as a commentator, like what he's doing on SmackDown or what but wrestling, I don't get the point.
yeah,
I
and
think it's like somebody likes him and they're just giving him.
oh yeah, they're yeah, because I don't think that they're like I think there's more talented people on the card that can sell matches better than he can,
Well, I mean,
and that's
I
the
think
main
about
thing.
this with we have matches like Pat McAfee defeating Happy Corbin, but yet we release Naomi and Sasha.
Oh yeah, that's what and then on top of that, insult them knowing that they decided to quit. That's mostly what I like about, like, I don't necessarily agree with everything CM Punk says. It makes sense where he's like, it's one machine and this and that. And it would take a lot for them to change if they really did care. But I mean, also at the same time, like, some things he says actually make sense. Like, he's like, I actually would much rather take the needle movers, the people that decide to quit and stand up for something, rather than the people that will stay and suck up to the bullshit.
Oh no,
And
I totally agree with that, and I was mentioning it to a friend of mine that same one I've talked to about a lot of this stuff, but um, I talked about Sasha. You know, we talk about in our normal day to day jobs, we can't just say we're not going to come to work today. You know, and and these athletes and stuff, and it's not just WWE people that decide to do that, but basketball players have done it too. But it's like, really? I mean, in our day to day life, if we called and said we're not coming to work today because we don't like what we're doing, we wouldn't have a job tomorrow. And so I get the response of, when they said, here's what we want you to do. If you don't like it, who gives a shit, type of thing. And that's basically kind of what was told. But, at the same time, they're paying you. So it's like, well, you either do what they ask you to do or you leave. And from my standpoint, I give it to them that they just up and left. I mean, that could, be the end of their career
yeah,
if
especially that they get probably pretty good money just being there, like
well,
working
shit.
there,
I mean,
even no matter what
I,
your schedule is.
I don't know if you saw it, Josh. I didn't, but frickin', there was a video I saw. I don't remember if I saw it on Twitter or Facebook, but Liv Morgan went into a sneaker place and she
Yeah,
dropped $12,000 on sneakers.
holy fuck.
And I'm like, and that's Liv Morgan. So you just
Yeah,
wonder how much like Sasha and Naomi were
yeah.
making.
Well, I know at one point Naomi wasn't making that much money. It was kind of like Kofi Kingston at one point when he was a mid quarter. It was only making like 250 grand a year.
But
This was like 10 or 15 years ago though.
yeah,
But
I was
like,
absolutely shocked when I saw that
yeah,
she
and I
was
think
making.
that they get more money now, definitely more money, because the Fox deal and whatever else, so they could give them possibly everything that they could use, like, get out of stuff. But
But
like,
yeah, this was that Pat McAfee match was my bathroom match. I said
yeah, definitely, because it
I
was only
kind of
10
watched
minutes
it, but
too.
I
It
kind
wasn't.
of watched it, but I didn't really pay
Yeah,
much
it's
attention to
mostly
it.
because I'm just so tired of seeing Happy Corbin matches. I said this about the Madcap Moss match, and I like Madcap Moss, but also at the same time, he is, right now, he is the random create a wrestler on 2K22 right now. They have like, they split them up, and then they had no idea what to do with Madcap Moss when he got split up from him. And I think that's the problem. They tell all these stories with certain people, and then they don't know where to go from after that.
Yeah, I would agree. But we'll see what happens with Triple H taking over, how stuff
Yeah, I'm
changes.
hoping
I'll
that.
be very interested to see it
Yeah, I'm
because
just
you can
hoping that everything gets better, or at least somewhat like better. At least the
you can
pay per
see
views get
imprints of it.
better. Yeah.
And even in between the Pat McAfee and the Uso match, when Drew McIntyre came out to hype his match at Clash at the Castle, I don't know if that would have happened under Vince
Oh, like
because
they
he
weren't
came
gonna
out.
have them do it. Yeah.
Well, he came out and he high fived somebody in the crowd, and he was like kind of just talking. Remember?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was very different than you normally see. Like it was like an in between thing, but it was a wrestler coming out just to talk,
Especially because
which
I think they said that it was like 5 months or something, or 5 weeks. I mean, till like Clash of the Castle.
yeah, September 3rd.
Yeah. So
So
like,
it's basically what's happening next month. So we'll be talking about that one probably.
well, and the
Um,
main thing is like, I feel bad for Drew because like, I'm ultimately
And I
thinking that
was
he's going to lose to Roman.
And the funny thing is, though, I was reading an article where somebody was saying Roman carried WWE through the Thunderdome era. I'm like, no, he
And
didn't.
hell no, he did not.
Drew
Drew
McIntyre did.
did. Drew
Yeah,
and Rome,
Roman was
Drew
out
and
with his
Braun
leukemia
did.
stuff most of the
No,
time.
that's what I'm saying. Is like Drew and Braun did. Braun would have never been Universal Champion if Roman didn't stay at home. Same with Drew. I mean, same with Lashley. Fuck.
Yeah, I
Because
was reading that, and
because
I'm
he was
like,
the
what
one
the
who
hell is
beat
that
Drew.
person smoking?
Well,
But I
that's what
was
I'm
reading.
saying. It's like just basing it alone. Like if anybody was the one who carried that shit, it was Drew. They put everything on Drew up until Lashley beat him. Braun ended up having the title up until I think Roman beat him. Or actually, I think was it? I think Braun lost it to Bray Wyatt. Then Bray Wyatt lost it to Roman. I think that's what it was, and then he had it ever since. Pretty sure that's how it went. But like that's what I'm saying. It's like he was not in the Thunderdome. I'm like he was barely in the Thunderdome area. It was in there for like 6 months. Like the main thing that he was allowed to have the freedom to make was his character. Like his heel work and shit like that. Other than that, Drew was the one who carried that shit through most of the damn COVID era shit,
Yeah, I
which
would
is
agree.
crazy to me.
Yeah, that's why I had mentioned it, because I read that article and I'm like, what?
Yeah, because I'm like, who was
Did you
at
watch it
WrestleMania
during?
that year? Oh
Did
yeah,
you watch
Roman
it during
sat.
that?
Yeah, it's like Roman sat at home when he was like at WrestleMania. It was like he was like, oh, there's no fans there, so I'm gonna chill at home. I mean, that's not the case, but like that's what I'm saying. It's like kind of, and it really shows now where he signed a different contract, and then he got Brock's schedule. It's
Which
like,
is funny.
oh,
We'll talk about that during the last
yeah. But
thing,
anyway,
but
well, and we're kind of involved knowing that we're talking about Usos and Street Profits now. But like,
and I'm kind of tired of seeing these two, to be
yeah, like
honest
I
with you.
didn't really care to watch this match either. I mean, like,
Well,
it's
for
mostly,
one, I didn't we talked about it. I didn't
Montez.
understand why Jeff Jarrett was even the guest
Yeah, it
referee.
didn't.
I still
Yeah,
don't.
it really didn't make sense. Why? Because I know that they hired Jeff Jarrett again for like working behind the scenes or whatever. But like, it didn't really make sense. Like, I mean, they literally could have picked anyone. Like literally had like fucking Adam Pierce be the special guest referee. But it wouldn't change anything. You already knew that the Usos were gonna win again, and that's exactly what happened. So I was like, okay, tell me something different. I mean, they could do like a decent match throughout the whole thing, but at the end of the day, when you know what the ending's gonna be, you're not gonna really care about the match.
Yeah, one thing
Like
I
if
did
you
like
wanted to
during the
split
match.
it up,
Yeah, one
like,
thing I did like during the match, though, was Jeff Jarrett asserting his authority with both groups.
oh
Because
yeah,
when he would yank him off and say, "I said 5, damn it," or
yeah,
and
yeah.
and things like that, that he was following the rules and
And
he
it's
was
so
making
weird
it
how
known.
he was like a face during this kind of face-ish because he was a special guest referee. But then he was in Ric Flair's last match, and then he's like bloodying Ric Flair with like Ric Flair's almost 80. And he's like cutting him open, doing all this shit, like fucking slapping people at the like he came out for his entrance and he's like getting at kids' faces and shit.
Well, yeah, I
It's
can't
just
believe
weird.
that
Well,
even
first
Ric
off, it
Flair had
was
another
weird knowing that
match.
Ric
But
Flair
anyway,
had another match, yeah. And it looked like he passed out at the very end of the match because he said that to Andrade. He was like, I passed out. Like, he put the laziest fucking figure four on. Mind you, this motherfucker's close to 80, like, years old. And I definitely don't think he should have done another match. I don't think he really needed it. It
no, he
seems like he
doesn't.
needed more
But it's
money
like,
again.
yeah, that's what it seems like. I mean, why else would
Yeah.
you wrestle at near 80? I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
But,
Especially after coming off of his, I mean, he almost died, for crying out loud. I think I
yeah.
talked about it before, that WWE put together a montage back then because they thought he was going to die. Seriously.
Yeah.
So I mean, so he was that close, and then he had already had a final match against Shawn Michaels, and he should have just
And
left it
that
at
was the
that.
pinnacle match too. I mean, like it was a perfect match for what they did. The storytelling was great and everything. And then of course he had to go to TNA and wrestle over there and do all this stupid shit when he should have just stayed at home. But I mean, like it's one thing to take a paycheck, but it's another thing to wrestle like again for it. But anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway,
Well, and then
Montez
with that
Ford
being said,
and Montez Ford and D'Angelo or Angelo Dawkins. Yeah, like I really love them as a tag team, but like one thing that would have shaken up this feud is if even if it was considered by cheating, Usos lost. And then they would win it back like that fucking next SmackDown or some shit. Just as something different. Like they need a fucking reign for like 500 days or however long they have the
well,
titles now.
well, yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. But I mean, yeah, it's unreal why they still have the titles.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I
I'm
don't,
like, I kind of understand you're trying to be like, the bloodline's the best or whatever the fuck, but like also at the same time, it's fucking boring to me.
but it
There's
would
like
also be
no new
nice if
tag
they were
teams.
the. It would be nice if they were the best tag team, and they're not. I mean,
Yeah,
overall,
yeah.
they're not the best tag team. I think a lot of these guys are getting pushed down the ladder, and I don't get why. I mean, you don't even see the War Raiders,
Oh yeah, the Viking Raiders, which they
the
should have
Viking
kept them.
Raiders.
That I
I'm
have no
calling them their
idea.
old name, I think, but
I have no idea why they changed their name from War Machine.
that's
There's
what I meant. War
nothing
Machine.
wrong. There's nothing wrong with having the name War Machine. It's not.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's because of that UFC fighter that almost killed that chick. I don't know.
Oh
Because his
well.
name was War Machine, I
But
think,
also
wasn't
at
it?
the same time, it's two different people though. It's
No,
like a
I get
tag
that.
team.
I'm just trying to, I'm just putting the devil's advocate on and why they
No,
changed it.
I
But you know, they
kind
changed
of, but
names
I
from
mean,
Walter to Gunther,
also at
dude.
the same time, War Raiders wasn't a bad name. The fucking theme song to me is the most atrocious shit for who they are as a tag team. That's the main thing for me. They turn like it's kind of like where they say like every face member of like or face wrestler, hey, just come out and smile. That's pretty much all you do. Like that's pretty much what they did with the War Raiders and the or the Viking Raiders or whatever the fuck you want to call them now.
I made you change.
No, I know I'm just saying like
I think the name
they
of their
should
song
be.
is called War
I'm
Raiders
just
or something. I think that's what's
yeah,
throwing me
it's
off.
like the most fucking. Well, they're the Viking Raiders, but I mean, like they changed their name to Eric and Ivar, which they should just be Rowan Hansen, like their fucking names. But like they turned one of the most dominant tag teams that were in New Japan, Ring of Honor, Impact. Oh, actually, I don't know if they were ever in Impact, but I know in New Japan and in Ring of Honor, they were one of the most dominant tag teams that they ever had, and they turned them into a joke.
Oh no, they were
Uh,
War Raiders when they first came in. That's what's
yeah, and then
throwing.
they changed their
So
name.
yeah,
But they
that's
were
right.
even called Rowan Hansen before they changed them to Eric and Ivar, which I was like, okay, even Eric and Ivar is still kind of like a Norse mythology name. That's fine, right? If you're trying to, but like, I don't think that it really necessarily needed to change their name. Like, just, I mean, you're already making money off of the Viking Raiders name. It's not like they come out with Eric and Ivar on the Viking Raiders name. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, seeing the Street Profits go against the Usos for the I think I've probably seen it like maybe 8 times by now for like the different titles and stuff like that because I've seen them do it when Street Profits were champions. I think this was like a few years ago, like when they first had their. I think they've only had their reign like once, maybe twice for Street Profits, and that's it. But I remember that they were in matches with the Usos, but like something different. Having the Viking Raiders go against Usos, win the match, then them like off of cheating, get the titles back on SmackDown, whatever, show something different. But they would put on a banger match with them. Like the Usos are consistent most times. Same with the Street Profits and stuff, but it's not like I haven't seen that. I just watched it the month before, and it wasn't anything different. It was the same type of tag team match, just insert special referee.
Yeah, that's what I'll be getting at. And I think they wrestled again on Raw, but it was a 6-man tag or something.
But that's
If
yeah,
I
because I think they were with Drew or something, right?
thought it was Lashley, I think, but
Oh, it
maybe.
could have been Lashley. Yeah, I knew it was one of them, but like, still, my point is, give the chance to the other damn tag teams that you have, like even Alpha Academy, doing something where it's like other people involved, where you could build up more tag teams instead of just the Usos or New Day or whatever. Like they're made names now. They don't need the titles. Like honestly, I think that they should do something with the Usos where they're separate. They go
Oh,
after
never
the
mind.
United. I think they should do the United States title or the Intercontinental title. They should get the mid card belts for the guys instead of the tag team belts because they've already shown their range as a tag team group.
Sorry, I was thinking of a previous week. Montez Ford faced Seth Rollins, and then the Usos faced the Mysterios.
Oh, okay. But that's what I'm saying is like giving a shot to like other tag teams, and I think that's mostly what is so boring to me seeing these. Like,
Yeah, and well, I'm
the,
just tired of seeing the same match over and over
yeah.
again, and then to see the Usos continue to win, it's almost like Roman.
Well,
It's
that's
kind
what
of
I'm
tired.
saying.
I'm
It's
kind of
like they're trying to like doing a copy paste on the Usos that they're doing with Roman, and I think that's why their whole reign kind of sucks to me. Like same with Romans. Like fucking wow, it's been almost 2 years or like a little bit more than 2 years since he had the fucking belt. What have they fucking done? He's lost like won every match against every fucking opponent. He's beaten Drew like 4 fucking times.
well.
He's
Even when he was losing, he didn't take a pin. I
well,
think he hasn't
that's what I'm
like
saying.
taken
It's
a pin in 900 days or some
like
shit.
they
It's
introduced
like
like
almost 3 years.
the shit at first where they were introducing when one of the Usos was injured. I think it was Jimmy, where they introduced the thing where they were going against where he was going against Jay, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, you ain't ever gonna be in a main eventer," and that's mostly why I say if they went after mid card belts and they're separate and then show that they're dominant anyway, then that could build them up to try to take out Roman. Essentially, at one point, try to do the same thing. Instead of they're just being like, oh, still a tag team. Maybe something will be different now. Probably
Well, I
not,
don't know.
though.
Yeah, I
But
don't know though, and I'm hoping because right after this match, though, there was a video clip package on Charlotte before Riddle came out, and this
yeah,
makes me just be real concerned about Liv Morgan's reign again. I think I've talked about it before that
well, we
I
talk.
sure as thou hope that Charlotte does not come back and take the belt.
She's
I'm
gonna. I'm telling
and
you,
I'm gonna be like,
she is
you
gonna,
know,
and then we're gonna be
she needs
like,
to work. Yeah, and I'll be talking about it again because there's so much bullshit. Just like the Riddle Rollins thing. I don't know why they took it off
shelve
the
the
card,
match, yeah,
and then they had Riddle come out right at this point and
and
get
then get
demolished
beat
by
up,
Seth.
yeah.
It's like I guess they changed their mind in putting it at SummerSlam, and they wanted it on Clash at the Castle, is what. But still, it's just weird.
And I mean, that match is probably going to be pretty good, though. Like, that's
Yeah,
why I
but I
wish
mean,
it was here. But I mean, that's why, honestly, I thought it was going to be like another one where it was like, oh, well, Seth is going to go against a random opponent. And that's what I think a lot of people believe. But then they came out and then he beat up Riddle. He was like, ha, 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 ha. And then that was it.
yeah,
And,
but I mean, it was just like a continuation. But it was like I didn't see a point in even doing it.
well,
They could
yeah.
have left
And
into what happened on Raw when he did the stomp. I mean, it's like they had to find a place for Seth in SummerSlam.
yeah. It's kind
So,
of like
but
doing the Drew thing. I mean, it was like they wanted him on the card but they didn't know how to like put him there.
But they do all this, and then the next match only gets 4 minutes. And I heard it was not only that, but it was because Logan Paul and The Miz went longer than it was supposed to. So I'm talking about the
But
Liv
I mean,
Morgan,
honestly, they
Ronda
could have
Rousey.
shortened the fucking Usos match.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But I mean, a lot of these were 15-minute matches, and then this one was 4 minutes, which
Yeah.
the only one that really should have been a squash match, and this really wasn't a squash match, but it kind of was, but was the Bobby Lashley one, and that one made sense. Like you said, that should have been the way their first match went, and I
Yeah.
didn't understand why it didn't. This one, it kind of makes Liv Morgan look kind of weak.
Yeah, they made her look super weak. I mean, like, I get showing like her struggling through the match and this and that, but also at the same time, knowing that they made her tap before the pin happened, I was like, okay,
Yeah, it
that was
makes her
super
look
weak
really weak, and then Ronda Rousey gets suspended. So this is a way, again,
to
was
tell
showing that
Ronda
package with
Rousey being out
Charlotte,
for a while.
but both Ronda being out and Charlotte getting her spot.
Yeah,
And this is why it's gonna piss me off because I'm tired of Charlotte leaving for months and then coming back and getting the title, basically getting not only a title shot but the title the minute she comes back.
yep. And it's
And
bullshit
and the
because
only
it's
time
like,
she loses it is if she leaves.
well, that's why I'm hoping that and they don't do this again. Like Triple H learns from it.
The one that needs to come back and win the title is Sasha.
Oh yeah, oh
That
fuck
that's
yeah,
what
dude.
that's what needs to happen. And honestly, what they should do to just show them something is Naomi should win the Raw one.
Yeah, yeah.
That they both should win the titles. If they
Or
really
it would be
felt that they
funny
were
if
done
they,
wrong,
or if it would be funny if they showed up with the tag belts because they kind of shelved the tag belts after they left. They
well,
show
then
up
they
with the
should
tag
trash them.
belts.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just saying, like they show up with the tag belts, and then they win the other belts too.
Yeah,
And then they do like if anybody could do double duty, same with Naomi, is Sasha. Like
yeah.
they could do
Mm-hmm.
like 2 matches on a pay per view if they wanted to. Like both of them could. And like that's the main thing. It's like Naomi to me always been super underrated. Like she
Oh,
only
she's
got
always
like
been, but
two like
Sasha too.
yeah
Sasha's way underrated to me. I think she's the number one wrestler they have, and this is even bigger than Becky.
yeah.
I think she's the best wrestler out there. Actually, I don't know if there's one better. Like they could say Britt Baker all they want, but I don't think Britt Baker's as good as Sasha is.
Well, I've heard that I
The
heard
one
that
that
their match on Dynamite was a banger though. That's
the
what they were
only
telling me.
one, yeah, but the only one is Paige.
Yeah,
If Paige was still
yeah.
wrestling, she would be the number one wrestler around.
Shit, yeah, man. She would have taken Charlotte's spot probably
Oh,
with
easily.
having the
I
damn
mean,
belt. Because I mean, you could tell that they liked her from the get go, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because she won the title a bunch of times, even from AJ, and AJ is great too. I wish she was still wrestling too. But like that, and that's the main thing, and that's why I'm hoping that they don't shit on Liv Morgan's reign. At least
Yeah.
if she loses, lose it to like an up and coming person or like somebody different instead of like the same people. I don't want to see Charlotte win again. It's like, even if like fucking, oh yeah, I got this random opponent for you because this person can show up, and then Sasha comes out, then you're like, holy shit, no matter what, she's gonna win. And then because they still haven't really given a Sasha reign that's been worth a shit.
No, they
They kind
haven't.
of
That's why I
did.
said she'll
They
win
kind of
and then
did, but
she'll
not
lose on
really.
Raw the next night. I don't
Yeah.
know. There haven't been many times where Sasha's won and it's been a long reign, not compared to some of these other jokers. I mean, Becky Lynch had a long reign. Charlotte always does.
Yep.
Ronda had a long one. I mean, if Ronda didn't leave WWE, she probably would have been the damn title holder for a lot longer
Yeah,
than she was.
and shit, like Ronda probably wouldn't have lost that match if she didn't leave. That
Yeah.
WrestleMania match, she probably wouldn't have left. That's the
So,
main
but I
thing.
mean, with that, I don't know that I'm gonna just go into the Roman Reigns match, which was the last match on the card,
Yep.
but this was not what I was expecting. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I was not expecting a 23-minute match from Brock.
Yep.
And I could tell
Definitely a
you what,
23-minute match. And then, least of all,
but
coming out on a fucking tractor.
yeah, but I could tell you what right now, though, if this is the way Brock really is, he should have been doing this his whole career.
Yeah.
Because
For sure.
he would have been liked by everybody. Because I was just talking about this the other day, was that I've never liked Brock. Never have. But I'm liking him now
Yeah,
because
that's
of
what I'm
what
saying.
he's
Like,
been doing.
all the
I
shit
mean,
that he's been doing lately, I've been liking his shit. Even off of, like, okay, after the match, right? I'm talking about, like, Brock was outside and they show a video package where, because at one point he gets in the tractor, lifts one side of the ring up, and then fucking Roman Reigns like fucking tumbles out of it, which is fucking hilarious. He just
yeah,
sits
and
there and he's like,
I
"No,
don't
don't
think
do it,"
this
and
would
then he
have
falls
happened
out.
under Vince.
Yeah, I
This
don't
is
think they
another
would have
thing
done that.
this is another thing that I think was Triple H written all over it. I don't think
Yeah.
this would have happened under Vince, this match
Yeah,
at
and
all, the
then
way it went.
it's just funny because after the match, when he's getting up to leave, I mean, eventually they pretty much ended it the same way that they did a couple of times before with Brock matches. But like, he went in the ring, went up the ring, and put his hat on, and then just leaned up against the end of the ring. I thought that
Yeah,
was fucking hilarious.
I saw the picture of that. But yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. If he would have been like this his whole career, I would have died.
yeah,
And like I
yeah.
said, I think right now at this point, the reason it is I think he's got enough money now and
He
he's
just
having
doesn't give a
fun.
shit. Yeah, yeah. I think,
And
like, even at the beginning of this match, okay, so like, mind you, so the intros happen. They're sitting over there. Brock gets on the tractor, drives up. Then he's sitting up on top of the what do you call the part, the
he put
wheelbarrow
on a
part?
flannel vest and a cowboy
Yeah, he
hat
had a
before he
flannel
even got on
vest
the
and a
tractor.
cowboy hat on. He's at the end of the tractor. And he asked for the fucking microphone for him to do the Brock Lesnar bit, right? Then, mind you, because they do a camera cut, like after he does the Brock Lesnar thing, and then all of a sudden you see a fucking mic in Roman's hand. I'm like, when the fuck did he get a mic? Is he gonna start talking now?
Well, yeah, Lesnar
So
threw it
then,
at him and
so,
he caught
yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
they show, yeah, he does it
Yeah.
effortlessly too. He just flings it at him. He just grabs it like fucking no sold the catch, and he's just staring at fucking Brock. I thought
Yeah.
that was the funniest fucking thing, just because it was just a one-off thing that he just
Well,
flung
not
it at
only
him.
that, he
Caught it.
winked at him. He
Yeah,
winked
that's
it.
what I
Yeah.
was like, what the fuck? You know that he got back to Gorilla and he was like, fucking, I can't believe you fucking did that shit. That was so fucking funny to me. Oh my god, I died. So it was just so funny because I was like, why in the hell does he have a mic? And then you see a video afterwards. I was like, what the fuck, man? And essentially, this match was just like more of the same from Brock and Roman,
Oh, it
but
is,
it
but
went a
this
lot
was the
longer.
first time I've ever seen Brock go 23 minutes. I
Well,
talk
yeah,
about all the
like,
time that his matches go 5-10
yeah,
minutes, and
and
that's
then
it.
I think Paul Heyman took a damn F5 through the table, right? I
Yep.
think. Yeah, and I was like shocked that he fucking did that move. Like, I was like, damn, okay. So then they pretty much like did everything that they could, and of course, pretty much the only way that they could have done it is probably the way that they built up Brock, because you knew that Brock was losing anyway, because I'm sure that he's going to be gone for like until at least Survivor Series or something, probably. But like, yeah, they did the same thing where they just buried him, and then he couldn't make it up for the count, and they were
Well,
kind of
yeah,
like
and
stepping on him
they,
and stuff like that to keep him from down, like getting up.
the only thing I was hoping was that when Theory came out, that he would lose his Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh
Remember,
yeah, like
I
I
was
thought
telling you
that
that
was
would
the
have been the
dumbest fucking thing. Theory just looked like an idiot because he didn't even wait until the end right? Didn't even wait until the end. Showed up like 5 minutes before the end of the match, and then got his ass beat. And then he's like, "Oh shit!" Like, talk about the
But
dumbest fucking person ever. If you talk about this shit for months, where you're gonna fucking cash in on him, and then you come in and try to cash in on the wrong time. Oh, okay, I'm gonna show up
well,
like,
and that's why it would have been perfect for him not to win it. Like
yeah,
him for
yeah.
him to cash in and
Well,
freaking
it would have been like
lose
a
it.
fucking Baron Corbin moment when he was like,
Yeah,
when he
which is
tried
what
to
I was hoping.
cash in on
Which is
Jinder,
what I
and
was.
then Jinder beat him. I thought that was
Yeah,
funny
which
too.
is what I was hoping would actually happen. I think I talked about this either on a previous podcast or just in conversations me and you have had about it. Um, but
Honestly, I
this was
think
a
that
much
he's, uh-huh,
this was a much better match than I was expecting.
yeah.
But also, it didn't surprise me that Reigns won.
Well, I mean, like, they're building it up. Like, the main thing is he only got like 3 or 4 different people until he's got the longest reign. I mean, granted, he ain't ever gonna fucking run it like Bruno did. No matter what, that is fucking set in stone. Having like 3,000 days that you were champion, that is set in stone. They ain't gonna fucking have that shit happen with Roman. And if they do, then they're fucking dumb. Like, honestly, why would Roman need to fucking have the damn title for that damn long? But, like, that's like fucking what, like 5 or 6 years being as champ, I think, straight. And I would get so fucking bored if I saw that shit. Good lord. But, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm kind of bored with Roman shit. And it would be
Oh, I'm
nice if he,
purely bored
like,
with it. But I
him
don't. At this
fucking
point, I don't
fighting
know.
Riddle and then them do a thing where he could never go again, go for the title with Roman being the boss. I'm like, dude, that's why he should have won the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I
That's
talked
also
about
why
last month.
it's also smart to bring back Bray or
That's
Braun
why,
because at this point, I don't know who the hell he's gonna face to beat him.
yeah, if anything, Cody.
Unless
I
it's
mean, like,
Cody and they
honestly, they
wait
would have
for him.
probably
But
done. Yeah, like knowing that, and the sucky thing was with Cody, with him getting injured, like horrible timing because I think he would have been champion at one point. Like, I
well, he
think he
still
would have.
will be. It's just
Yeah,
gonna be a while, which
yeah,
means
it's
you'll see
going to be a
Roman with the
longer. Yeah,
title for longer, which is what I think they're doing. But I just think that's stupid. They could
yeah,
have him
I
lose it
agree.
and win it back. I mean, they don't need to have him keep
Yeah, I
winning.
know it
I mean,
doesn't need to be like one giant reign and then him being like, acknowledge me. I'm like, I'm sick of the acknowledge me part too. And like, he needs to get something better instead of what he's doing. It's kind of getting stale. Like, everything that they're doing right now isn't like doing stuff where he would beat credible dudes like Riddle and other dudes that could be main eventers at one point, would be better than what they're doing, where they're just having them rehash matches with other people. Like, I don't need to see Brock versus Roman 20 times in a row. It's
yeah.
like, come on, man, get a life for that shit. But so any no, that pretty much ends the pay per view, pretty much, really.
We broke an
But like,
hour in this one, dude.
yeah, but what's it called? So, is there an AEW pay per view or anything before this one?
I don't think so. I think the next one is going to be the Clash at the Castle.
Okay, yeah, that's
Wait.
what I was wondering
I'm not sure.
because I thought they were supposed to be All Out, but I don't remember when All Out is.
It might be September. Hold on
Oh
a second.
yeah, it is. I think it is. I think it's like the 5th or something, September 5th
So they're going to be
or
right around the
4th.
same. So we're probably going to have two
I know it
in
was
the
around
same
there because I remember
conversation again.
they said that they were doing it in Chicago. I think again, I mean, Chicago's always a great crowd, especially if you got CM Punk there.
Yeah, All Out is September 4th. So
Oh,
I
okay,
think
September 4th. Yeah.
Clash at the Castle September 3rd. So that's going to be a wrestling weekend for us, it looks like.
Yep. Which is never a bad thing anyway, especially as long
No,
as wrestling gets better and shit. It's
no,
never a
but
fucking
we'll
bad thing.
have another combined podcast
Oh
again.
yeah, probably more than likely. So,
So that'll be our next one in what, another month?
Yeah, about
About a
another
month
month.
from
Yeah.
today,
I mean, like,
about a
unless
little
there's
over a month
something
from
else
today.
that we want to cover or something in the meantime, maybe do like a special episode, because I was thinking about doing something special in the next couple of weeks or something anyway. Especially knowing that we're getting up there in, yeah, like it's been like what, like almost 3 years since we've been doing this shit. But anyway, that's for another time.
But yeah, so you'll either hear from us again in about a month for All Out AEW or in Clash at the Castle for WWE combined into one
Yeah,
podcast.
one giant episode.
But in the meantime, you can check out all our other podcasts on heartofgeek.com. We're on pretty much every podcast network, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, I
So
think
we've got the current one you're listening to. We've got Scream Creeps, which is our horror podcast. Then we've got Morbid Instinct, that's our true crime podcast. And then we got Sci-Fi Graveyard, that's our sci-fi related one. And we probably will be starting our Fill in the Blank podcast again at some point. But we're also thinking about adding a few other podcasts on there.
yeah,
So we're
because
going
I've
to have
been
a,
thinking about doing an anime one at one point anyway, so like that might be a possibility. I don't know. I'm at least gonna start doing anime reviews on the website at least. And same with, I got a couple of album reviews that I gotta finish up, and then probably a review on Thor: Love and Thunder.
yeah, so we've got YouTube, we've got our website, theheartofgeek.com, with all our YouTube videos and our reviews on there. And then we've got our podcast as well. And you'll see if you go out there, our reviews are starting to pop up and any news from that standpoint too. But you can also check us out on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and
And
Instagram,
Instagram and all that shit.
all at the Heart of Geek. So we're easy to find. And we hope you check it out. We've got merch and all that stuff out there too, that if you guys wanted to purchase and
Yeah,
show off our
baby.
stuff, we'd appreciate it. But anyways,
Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you guys in the next podcast.
peace
See
out.
ya.